Alors, bonsoir tout le monde.
Good evening, everyone.
Bienvenue à cette
Welcome
réunion ordinaire du
to
Conseil
this regular public
municipal.
meeting of the Dieppe City
Euh,
Council.
Sans plus tarder,
Without
je
further
signaler que la
ado,
ville de Dieppe
I will say
reconnaît
that the City of
que
Dieppe
la terre sur laquelle elle
recognizes that the
siège
land
ses
on which it
activités fait partie
operates
du
is part of the
territoire
unceded
ancestral et traditionnel de ces
traditional
des Mi'kmaq.
territory of the Mi'kmaq.
Et également, chers collègues,
And also,
ayons la
dear
sérénité
colleagues,
d'accepter les
let's have the
choses que nous
serenity
ne
to
pouvons
accept the things
changer, le
we cannot
courage de
change,
changer les
the
choses que
courage to
l'on peut,
change the things we can,
la sagesse de connaître la
and the wisdom
différence.
to know the
Merci bien.
difference. Thank you.
Et j'appelle la réunion à l'ordre.
I call this meeting to
Et
order.
on a une confirmation du
We
quorum
have confirmation of the quorum,
qui nous amène au prochain
which
item
brings us to the next matter,
de déclaration de conflit
which is
d'intérêts.
conflict of interests.
Aucun conflit d'intérêts.
Are
Alors,
there any?
présentation, premièrement,
First of
déclaration.
all,
OK, c'est fait. Déclaration de
right,
conflit
okay, we
d'intérêts.
did the
Adoption
conflict
de
of
l'ordre
interest,
du jour
adoption of
proposé par le
agenda,
conseiller
moved by
euh,
Councillor
Thibodeau, excusez-moi, conseiller
Thibodeau,
Thibodeau.
pardon me, Councillor
Pour ceux qui se
Thibodeau.
sentent oubliés, des fois, là,
For those of you who feel
je vous oublie tout
forgotten,
à un moment donné ou à un autre.
I forget all of you at one point or another.
Appuyé par le conseiller, qui est appuyé,
Seconded
pardon,
by
par la conseillère Turgeon-Roy
Councillor
sur la question.
Turgeon-Roy on the question.
Aucune question.
There being none,
Alors, ceux qui sont en faveur de la résolution signifient
all
par
those in
oui.
favor will signify by
Ceux qui sont
saying
contre
aye.
par un non.
Against
La
nay.
résolution est adoptée.
The motion is carried
L'ordre du jour est
and
adopté.
the
Alors,
agenda is adopted.
pour continuer,
Let's move on.
présentation et requêtes et pétitions,
Presentations, inquiries, and
7.1,
petitions. 7.1,
l'inspectrice
and
euh,
Inspector
Farah est avec nous
Farah
autres ce
is
soir.
with us
Ça nous
this
fait
evening,
plaisir
and we're very
de
pleased
vous accueillir encore
to welcome
une fois.
you once
Toutes
again.
les opportunités qu'on a
Any
d'avoir
opportunity
un peu
that we
plus
have
d'informations
to
sur
have a
ce
little
qui se
more
passe dans
information about
notre
what's happening
territoire
in our community
du côté de la Gendarmerie royale du Canada
with
qui
regard
nous
to what
sert
the
tellement bien.
RCMP can
Merci.
tell us and who
Merci,
serve us
Monsieur le
so well.
maire.
Thank you,
Bonsoir,
Your Worship,
conseiller,
and
conseillères.
good evening,
Quelques
councillors.
choses à vous signaler.
A few things
Comme d'habitude,
to
nos
tell
policiers
you
sont très
about.
occupés à
Normally,
répondre aux appels de
our
service dans
police
la
officers
communauté.
are answering service
On
calls in
prend
the
aussi le temps de
community.
parler
We
avec
also
les gens
take
qui
time
vivent
to
sans abri
speak with
en essayant
people
de les
who
encourager à aller
are
chercher des
unhoused, and we
services
encourage them
et à utiliser le
to go
centre
look for
d'accueil
services and
de
use
Saint-Georges
the Welcome
qui est
Center
ouvert
on St. George Street, which
24/7
is
pour les
open
encourager de
24
sortir
hours
du
a day,
froid
7 days a week, to
s'il y a
encourage them
besoin
to get
ici.
out of the cold in
Cet
the last
endroit-là,
little
pour votre
while.
information, ils ont accès à plein de
This
services, de la
they have
nourriture, du
kind
linge chaud,
access to
des
warm
services de
clothes,
soutien
warm
concernant
food,
la santé
support
mentale,
services regarding mental
aussi
health,
à la
and
dépendance, puis même
also to addiction
de
services,
l'aide à
and
rejoindre la
also
famille.
help
Si
in
jamais, tu sais, il y a des
contacting
gens qui sont
family
distancés,
if
ça fait
these are
longtemps.
people who have been
Alors,
away
si
from their
jamais la
families for
personne
a
vous
long
amène
time.
à parler à ces
If
gens-là,
you ever
les
speak
encourager à
to
venir
those
les
who are
aider
in-house,
parce qu'on a vraiment
encourage
des
them
gens
to go and
dévoués qui
look
essayent
and
fort.
use these services because they are
Une
there
autre
and working hard.
petite information, au fil des
Another
années, vous
quick
avez
piece of
peut-être vu
information.
des
Over
chefs
the
de
years,
la
you've
GRC ainsi
probably
que leurs
seen
maîtres courir dans les
RCMP
sentiers
officers
ou tout
and
près de nos
others
résidences
walking and running
près
along
des
the trails
propriétés commerciaux.
near trails
On
and
fait ça parce
commercial
qu'ils ont
properties.
besoin
We
d'être
do this
forcés à s'y
because
routiner, à
these
faire des
animals have to
recherches
be exercised fairly
dans
regularly in
différents
doing
endroits.
searches
Les
and in
maîtres chiens,
other
eux autres,
locations.
ils tiennent simplement à
The dog
remercier les
masters would
résidents
like
et
to
les
thank
commerçants
the
qui nous
residents
appuient, qui nous
and the
laissent
business
faire
owners
notre travail
who
dans des
let
milieux
us
urbains.
do our work in
Puis c'est
urban
important parce que
settings.
les
It's
maîtres chiens ne sont pas
important
toujours dévoilés
because
dans le boulot
the
avec les partenaires. Alors ils
dog
doivent être
masters
exposés
can't
aux réalités
always
d'une
be
ville
in force. They have to be
avec
exposed to the
comment on
realities
peut
of a city
multiplier
and
les
an urban area,
distractions possibles.
how busy it can be and how many distractions there are.
Alors, je partage avec vous que
So
si
I
vous
wanted to
voyez un
share with
policier
you that
en
if you see a
uniforme
police
vert
officer in a
en
green
train de préparer
uniform
un parcours
preparing
pour quelques
uh,
chiens, c'est de la formation tout
something near
simplement.
you, this is
Des fois, on
training
peut
for
avoir une
their dog.
demi-douzaine parce que les
Sometimes
maîtres
there might be
chiens
a
sont
half a dozen
stationné
because
dans
the
la
dog
région de
masters
l'Atlantique X nombre
get
de fois par
together
année.
throughout the
Des fois
Atlantic
sur
area
site,
a
c'est
certain number of
volonté
times
de
a
la
year.
région de
Sometimes
la
Moncton
formation.
is where
Des
they
fois
do their
différents
training,
entraînements.
and they do different
Puis,
kinds of
on
training
essaye
as
d'envoyer
well.
des messages dans les
We
réseaux
try to
sociaux de
send
dire il n'y a
messages through
opération
social media
policière,
to
on est
say
en
there's no police
formation.
operation
Mais je
underway, we're
rappelle, si
doing
jamais il y a
training.
des
But I
citoyens
remind
qui vous
you
voient
that if
cette
any
genre
citizens
d'action-là
see
sont
this
concernés,
kind of
juste
activity
nous
and are
appeler notre
concerned,
numéro
please
de
call
hotline,
us
on va
at
vous
our
faire
local
voir ce
number
qui se passe
and
pour
we'll tell
expliquer
you
ce
what's
qui se passe.
happening because they're undergoing training.
Puis aussi, au niveau de l'unité de réduction de la
Also,
criminalité,
with regard to
des
the crime
accusations
reduction
ont été
unit,
portées contre 19
um, uh,
personnes en lien avec une enquête
various
sur le
counts
trafic
of
de drogue
have
illégale
been
dans notre
brought
région.
against people who
À
have
l'automne
been accused of
2021,
drug trafficking in the
notre
fall of
groupe de
2021.
réduction de la
Our crime reduction unit and the integrated law enforcement unit, these groups have been assigned here to Kodiak, have done an investigation with regard to drug trafficking. They seized uh, cocaine, shady 8 pills, meth crystal, and other things, also restricted firearms and one firearm that was not restricted. This happened in November 22 and was done jointly by these two groups. I want to simply underline that the efforts of these police officers and these resources that were put forward take a lot of time, and we've tried to send a very clear message, whether you're at the bottom of the ladder or at the top of the ladder, we can get to you, and these activities are affecting our well-being in our communities because addiction is related to thefts and all kinds of activities that people would not be doing if unless they had these challenges. So if you have any information about those who are trafficking in drugs, we encourage you to report these pieces of information to Crime Stoppers or to the police. You can find a detailed list of all the counts that were put into provincial court, as well as the names of the individuals who have been accused of various crimes under the press releases in the New Brunswick section of the RCMP. That's my report for this evening. If you have any questions, thank you. Questions by members of council? No questions? An easy evening for all of us so far. Thank you very much for this information. This brings us to the next item, which is questions by the members of our vast public. No one here? No one on the internet? Online either? Okay. So, adoption of minutes of the regular council meeting held on January 8, 2022, moved by Councillor Gaudette, seconded by Councillor Jeanette on the question. There being none, all those in favor of the resolution will say aye, against nay. And so we have passed the regular council minutes of the regular council meeting held January 8th. This brings us to item 10, memorandums, motions, and nominations. Mr. Melanson. Thank you, Your Worship, and good evening, everyone. My first file is the municipality, as you know, has the responsibility for overlooking dangerous or unsightly premises. We have a bylaw which helps us, and also the Local Governance Act requires us to have an appeal committee. So if there is a dangerous or unsightly premises issue, we deal with the owners of the property. This person can then appeal that decision. There are 3 nominations for this committee who will be hearing the objections or listen to additional information for various situations that may arise. And so this puts us into compliance with the Local Governance Act. This is to authorize these 3 people to join the committee, and they will be there to hear any appeals of municipal decisions. Thank you. To read the resolution, Councillor Brideau. Thank you, Your Worship. Pursuant to Section 134 of the Local Governance Act, that Council appoint the following members on the Dangerous or Unsightly Premises Appeals Committee of the City of Dieppe for a term ending December 31st, 2024. Robert Arsenault, Sayed, Hizamuddin, S. Fahani, and Yves Daigle. I so move, Your Worship. Moved by Councillor Brideau, seconded by Councillor Genet. On the question. There being none, also all those in favor of the resolution will say aye. Against nay. The motion is carried as read. This brings us to 10.1.1, the 10.2, tender award. I think it's the second person whose name you said is a woman. I just wanted to, oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, because he put Mr. in front of the name. Now we have a tender award. Yearly, we come to council to authorize expenses above our authority with regard to the road salt supply. Here, we are continuing with the consensus that the city put in place, so we're allowed by the Public Purchasing Act to have a contract through an award, a tender rather. So this is with a nutrient at the cost of 64.60 per ton. This is for your approval and to enter into a contract with this group. Thank you. To read the resolution, Councillor Thibodeau. Thank you, Your Worship. The Council award the tender for the purchase of road salt to Nutrien at the cost of 64.60 per ton plus HST for the 2024 winter season and authorize that this expenditure be defrayed from account 1-2-35-65-2645 General Operating Budget, Transportation, Salt and Sand. I so move, Your Worship. Moved by Councillor Thibodeau, seconded by Councillor, pardon me, by Councillor Lantagne. On the question. There being none, all those in favor of the resolution will signify by saying aye. Against, nay. The motion is carried as read. With regard to municipal bylaws, Z2 2024, respecting dangerous or unsightly premises, for first and second reading, which are by title alone. Councillor Jeannet. Thank you, Your Worship. Bylaw Z-2 2024, a bylaw of the municipality of Dieppe respecting dangerous or unsightly premises. I so move for first reading by title. Thank you. Move for first reading by title. Moved and seconded. On the question. There being none, all those in favor of the resolution will signify by saying aye. Against, nay. So bylaw Z-2 is passed for first reading. Let's move on to the second reading by title alone. Bylaw Z2 2024, a bylaw of the municipality of Dieppe respecting dangerous or unsightly premises. I so move for second reading by title alone. Thank you. Moved by second reading. And moved by and seconded. On the question. There being none, all those in favor of the resolution will signify by saying aye. Against, nay. So bylaw Z-2 2024 relative to respecting dangerous or unsightly premises is passed in second reading by title alone. Item 12, notice of motion. None were raised. Inquiries.
Mondial.
This might be a world record. Councillor Godet. Thank you, Your Worship. I have nothing to add this evening. Thank you. Have a great evening. Thank you. Councillor Le Boutillier, are you there online? Yes, I am. I have nothing for this evening either. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Jeannin. Just a second here, if you don't mind. Thank you, Your Worship. I have nothing for this evening either. Councillor Brideau. I have nothing for this evening either, Your Worship. Thank you. Councillor Thibodeau. No, I have nothing this evening either. Have a great evening, everybody. Councillor Turgeon-Roy. No, nothing for me this week, so have a good week. It's not possible. Councillor Godbout. No, I have nothing either. I don't. Councillor Antenne, all the pressure is on you. I would like to add something, but I really don't have anything to add. So everything's already been said. Everything's already been said. Okay, then. So the new year has started well for this second meeting of the year, but the first, but I don't think it's going to last like this. But have a great evening, everyone. Thank you.